Tar Heels.
Really? What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer. What happened that dynamic duo? This Let's Talk Football. And yo, I'm with my guy. This is Let's Talk Football late night with the guy himself, the host of Big Nate Sports Talk on
Yes,
all the time, anytime.
yes,
My
yes.
guy, Nathan Snell. What's up, Nate?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Man. Let me get the Doug Williams out real quick.
I love it.
Let me get the Doug Williams
The
because
goat.
I'm feeling that type of good in
It's
Washington today, man.
a beautiful Sunday.
Come on.
The Orioles, as you see,
Yes.
you're getting ready for Kansas City on Tuesday.
Come on.
Nationals lost to the Phillies, but that's okay.
That's fine.
The the Ravens and the Commanders, Sean.
Come on.
I mean, the DMV in Baltimore this week are going to be unhinged.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh, and it just the way the week has been, with the weather. Really, for a quick, definitely want to send my thoughts and prayers to those that are affected by Hurricane Helene.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
It just was just really scary to see some of the footage and stuff. To see, like, damn. So, just sending my thoughts and prayers to those that have been affected.
Absolutely. And anybody, and hopefully, like you said, thoughts and prayers to all of you. But at the same time, if there's anybody out there that can go out and help, go lend a helping hand, do it. Go do that stuff. This is the stuff if I personally can't go, I definitely know people that might have been affected, or at least in that area. My parents are down in North Carolina, and that kind of got touched a little bit. So definitely go out and help if you can. But Nate, look, like you said, the DMV is unhinged, baby. The Commanders, the Ravens both won. But Nathan, we both won convincingly. Like, we whooped them. Like,
yes.
Come on. Like, what's up, Nate?
It was with Washington. I actually on my podcast, I picked it to be a little closer. Because my biggest concern was like, okay, well, they got James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr. Their defense is a little respected, especially with Buda Baker back there. But I'm sitting there going, like, you're kind of running the momentums of Monday Night Football. Like how my keys were offensively setting the tone.
Yeah,
I think playing our run game without Austin Eckler. I thought that was going to look a little weird. So I was going to see how our run game looked. Yeah. But also, too, our defense for 60 minutes have to find ways to make plays. And they fixed it, and they got all three keys for me.
I thought they did great. Honestly, I thought, the team came together. There was a continuity. Something I always preach about is complementary football. The offense helped the defense. The defense helped the special team. The special teams helped it's just a cycle. All that stuff working together. And that is something that I liked. But then also, Nathan, I mean, we are starting to show something that you always talk about, and that's an identity. But where we need to look.
That's for you. Identity.
But where we need to look, Nathan, when we're looking at identity, is the Baltimore Ravens, sir. Because they came out early and they said, Derrick Henry, lead the way. And he did that thing, man.
And see, the funny part is, we kind of have to go. I kind of ask John, hey, when you said we didn't bring Derrick Henry run the ball 30 times, the first now 2 weeks, you've actually utilized him. Right. So, and I think when you look that first possession, Buffalo was shook.
Yeah.
Right to him. And they're like, oh, okay. And also to the offensive line, I have been very critical. A lot of the Ravens that cover the Ravens, Bobby and Sarah. they just those two particularly give a shout out. 410 Sports Talk podcast. Those guys have been very critical of the offensive line, and brother Voorhees didn't play today. Makari got the start at left guard. Roger Rosengarten, he looked good. Falele, they looked impressive, and this was the first game where penalties were not a factor. There were a couple like okay, but we looked really good. I'm really proud of us. And Derrick Henry was 1 yard short of 200, but that's okay.
He was. He had 200 total, but you know what it is. But look, more than that, real quick, with this being Let's Talk Football late night, what do you think this does for the DMV? What does this do for our areas? You guys have been successful year after year after year. We obviously have been on the other side of that, but we're kind of, sister cities. We're kind of close. We're connected down 95. What does this do for us as a whole?
Well, I think when you have, especially what Washington's been through with the Daniel Snyder era, and kind of seeing with new ownership, Magic Johnson's in there, that it's a lot of more accountability. There's a winning mindset, a winning attitude, and that's what you want. I think that's something we've lacked. I mean, we had it, but it was in bits and pieces. I thought, when we had RG3 and, when he, that kind of went out the window when they played Baltimore, and the Haloti Nada thing that kind of took the magic
Thank
out.
you very much. So. I don't think I said thank you for that. Thank you.
But no, I just think that football has always been in Maryland as a state, period, with Washington, the Ravens, the Colts, before they left for Indianapolis. Football's always been there.
Yeah.
And, like we're a very passionate, both our teams are very passionate about their teams. Like for the Ravens, we have a Super Bowl, but that was over a decade ago. 2012. Same thing in 2000. You guys haven't won. We haven't won a bowl since 92.
92.
And then
91 season.
Yeah, and our last playoff appearance was the bubble. So for watching. So I'm really proud of just seeing the progression. I know it's still very early in the season, but it's great to see winning football, not only in the DMV, not only in Baltimore, but the DMV especially.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, no doubt. And I mean, even more than that, we've always looked at you guys as a respectable franchise. You know how to hold, like, you guys are kind of, the cream of the crop as far as, being somewhere established franchise that people want to go to and they have good things to say. We've been on the opposite end. We've been on the opposite end of that. And now it's great to bring my jersey out. It's amazing. Right. I can wear my stuff out. Other fans are getting hyped and look at you guys' jersey. That's so dope. That's what's up. Like they're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I love that. I want that, man. I want us to bring it back. And that's why I am all for everything that's happening right now. And I man, for me, I'm ecstatic because I'm like, it's been so long waiting for this type of stuff to happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So now we're finally here. But look, let's get into this first one. Commanders beat the Cardinals 42-10. The game was, look, from the start to the finish, it was pretty. It was everything we asked for. Nathan, come on now. Offense and defense? What?
Like I said it before, we talked about this too, before we got on here. The Cardinals, I still think got a long way to go. Trey McBride was out for a concussion. Their run game's kind of been off to a slow foot. The biggest thing is they're not the greatest run defense. They struggled, I want to say, the week before against Detroit, letting David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs demolish them. And hey, look, we talked about the defense, bend but don't break. Our defense, I give them a solid A. especially when you come into today's game, when you look at the stats, we were not the best statistically, but you see some. I mean, there's some improvements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think this, especially for example, on the opening drive, they only averaged, I think it was under about 4.5 yards, and the rest of the drive like 5. I
Okay.
mean, they really weren't effective. I mean, Marcus
Mm.
Harris had that 2-yard touchdown. They
Yeah.
were held to 4 third down conversions, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Mm-hmm.
then,
4 of 11.
yep, and then give Jeremy McNichols. He deserves, as you guys say, a game ball.
Mm-hmm.
He floated for Austin Eckler. I thought that was going to be one of my concerns. Was okay. Well, who steps in for
Right.
Eckler? And hey, McNichols. So um,
They always say next man up, and
mhm.
that was truly that, where he took advantage of that situation. And we got to remember when he came in, when Derrick Henry went down, he used to be with the Titans. I mean, he was able to fill that role and help them to get to the playoffs. He's one of
Yep.
the, in the running back tandem. So yeah, no, I definitely was excited to see him and get that shot, and then make the best of the opportunity. 2
Yep.
TDs, I'm with that.
TD. What did you think? Because Jaden, I wanted to get your thoughts. Jaden played. I think he played great today.
Yeah.
Other than the interception, was that a good pass in your eyes? Could have been
I
better.
mean, honestly, so if you look at the film, you can nitpick and say, hey, there was a guy underneath, he could have hit that guy. But look, I don't have a problem with Jaden throwing. If he looks in, he saw something there, and he clearly did. And if you put that ball down a little bit, it goes right to Terry. He's there. It's good. Everything's fine. So this is going to happen. I'm glad this is kind of happening, because there was a point where he was perfect. And you're kind of like, all right, when's the other shoe going to fall? Like, when is this stuff going to really come out? So one thing I think about Jaden, and I think has been great, and thing that I've been screaming for, consistency. Every game this year, he's got around 200. I think the first he had over 180, but
Yep.
everything else has been 200, 200. And he's consistent.
Today he was 26 of 30 for 233.
Right.
So
And think about that. In the last 2 games, last game he was 21 of 23. Now 26 24. He's only missed 6 incompletions, and technically 5 were incompletions. One was obviously interception.
Right.
So, and he's contributing when the run, but he's also kind of scanning the field. He's not just trying to run and then go. He's looking down the field. And I think that the confidence that he has, it's emanating off him. Everybody else around him is now growing because of that. And I like that. I love that.
And I think also too, I think and I think Jaden will be fine.
Yeah.
We've only played, this is what, week 5? No, week 4, excuse me.
Week 4. Yeah.
And it's like, in the 4 games, there's growth. I think there was this expectation he was going to come in right away and just throw for 300 yards plus. Don't work like that. Right. I mean, look at his counterpart in Chicago. I mean, it takes time to grow. You're seeing the progressions, and this is what we expected. We should have seen this last year, and we were trying to say that last year, but we were told no, it's the quarterback.
Well, and that whole regime,
No, I get it.
I'm still bitter. I'm still bitter too. But at the same time, it's like we gotta let it go.
We gotta
push that one out, because in truth, this is an entirely different thing. 30 new players are here. And Nathan, we always talk about identity, but we also talk about culture. The culture in Washington, you don't come by a victory like this without a extreme culture shift in Washington. Talked about that, man. Where are we at now? What's different?
So remember, was it Bruce Allen? He was our GM.
Yep.
So Bruce Allen, the culture in Washington now is pretty damn good.
Mm. Boom.
So no, again, when you are bringing in players that want to win and again are bought into the system, I still think we have some guys left over last year, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. And unfortunately, like when you've been on crappy teams for so long, you kind of see bad habits. So I'm hoping that as the season progresses, you start to see those habits being broken out. But you just see guys just
they got sacked today, so
good game, like let's go, like hype it up. I haven't seen that in a couple years, from Washington. So like when I see those things, that lets me know like everyone's holding each other accountable. We're lifting each other up. Hey, that's okay. We got him next. We got him next possession. So that's culture, and that starts with coaching. That starts with Dan Quinn and those guys.
Yes.
So,
yeah, and I mean, I'm right there with you, man. I'm one of those that I've always said it ain't fun unless all my people can get some with me and bring them in. And JD5, I mean, clearly feels the same way. 9 different receivers got a pass, got a reception. He's sitting here, and it just and you look at the receivers. You and I talked about this. I talked about this with other Washington fans. We need a real, true, big number one. Blah blah blah. Is Terry really a number one? Boo. Terry's got his touchdown in the last 2 games. Zacchaeus, who's somebody we didn't even have on the radar, is now sitting here balling out and leading the team, and yards and certain things like that. And then you got
Zach Ertz,
Zach Ertz getting some action in there. Noah Brown came in there.
Still trying to figure him out. What we're trying to do with him.
But the thing about it, I mean, everybody's getting attention. He's divvying up. He's just going boom, boom, boom. And then on top of that, as you're getting that going, the run game is really fluid. When Brian Robinson gets over 100 yards, I'm pretty sure our record is better than our wins are better than our losses. But at the same time, we talk about McNichols. McNichols gets in there and gets it, and then JD5 gets almost 50. Now all of a sudden you got 200 yards by 3 guys.
And the funny part was McNichols was our team captain today.
Really? See?
Yes, our team captain. Man. He was one of our team captains. Yeah. So it was great. Now, I wanted to pose this question to you because Cliff Kingsbury, we know, was the former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Was this a revenge game for him?
So, and that's the narrative I brought up before. Like, is this a revenge game? Like, is he gonna come out here and do this? What I will say, and I saw there's a video after, and they gave him a game ball and everything. He called a nearly perfect game. I mean, he sat there and kept Jaden safe, high percentage passes. Even on the pass that Jaden threw an interception, he took a shot from things that he saw. And there was a number of passes that he threaded the needle because he wanted to go out there. He could have gone for the easy one. You know what I mean? Who knows what happens down the line, but it's good that he has that confidence to fit it in there and that type of stuff. So with Cliff, I honestly think there was something there. You're coming back to Arizona, the place that you're basically run out of. You're made to look a certain type of way with Kyler and that whole incident on the sidelines. I think you have to say that it meant something. To go as far as say it was a revenge game, I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair to say. I mean, I think he's just taking care of business. I think he probably in the back of his mind wish things could have been better in Arizona. But
absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
My only concern is it kind of gives me Gary Kubiak vibes because Gary Kubiak was our offensive coordinator for Baltimore, and next year he became a head coach for the Texans. So I don't want to think too far ahead. It just.
But that type of stuff happens though, and that's the thing. That's why you never even last year when we had Eric Bieniemy, even if he had success, we already knew he was on his way out. Like he was just trying to do this to springboard something else. And he ended up doing that. He went to college. He played in college. So, it is what it is with that. But look, let's move on. Let's talk about your guys. Let's talk about the Ravens. They came into this game after, going up big. You and I were talking last Sunday, going up, or was it Sunday or Monday night?
It was Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. We were talking about them going up 28-6, and then all of a sudden you have this random guy wearing a what is the Super Bowl shirt with a 28-3.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the Cowboys come back and you're hanging on. And I'm like, oh my God, But you come this week and everybody's saying the big bad Bills, they're, Josh Allen, MVP candidate, yada, yada, yada. And, what are the Ravens going to do? What are the Ravens going to do? And I think Lamar and Derrick Henry and Harbaugh, they said, we're going to show you what we're going to do. So, Nate, talk to me, man. Tell me how you feeling, because I know where you was at. So tell me how good this feels, man.
It feels pretty good, especially how we started off the first two games of the season.
Yeah.
This is what was expected.
Yeah.
You come out, and especially this is probably the best game they've played so far. I'm extremely proud of the offensive play calling by Todd Monken. Again, like I said earlier, Derrick Henry was brought here for something.
Yep.
And when you have games like that, like I said, from that first possession, because they had the worst rushing, I think they're like 25th, 26th in rushing defense.
Yeah.
The moment that first possession, we got him. But I mean, because and you could see in this Baltimore second possession, they were shook because they stacked the box.
Yes.
And that opens up the playbook, but also too, it's not Derrick Henry too. Justice Hill. I'm glad we re-signed him for 2 more years.
Great change of pace.
Exactly. And when especially and not telling Matt, Keaton Mitchell will be back soon. Yes. Can you imagine?
Watch out
with these three. No, and I'll talk about this more on late at a later date. But I'm a little concerned with our offense in terms of somebody is going to lose touches. Like tonight, Mark Andrews, I'm not like get rid of him. I just think because he's been Lamar's security blanket for now the past going on 7 years. And like to see he had it right there in his hands. He dropped it.
First down catch, yeah.
And it's like, damn, and to kind of see how likely his stock has been improving. And Mark's been kind of slowly. But Mark is still going to be a respectable tight end. I think his breakthrough will come at some point. We didn't have Justin Tucker out there for any field goal attempts. Extra point. That's fine to me.
Some of those looks a little shaky, but yeah. But, you and I were talking. I was like, did he get it? Okay.
Yeah, yep. The defense. Zach Orr, I think, caught a good game defensively. Yeah. Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, they looked a lot better. And they didn't have Michael Pierce. Michael Pierce saw the shoulder injury.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so big Travis Jones out of UConn. He stepped up in there. Buffalo, to me, I picked them to win the AFC East.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think the first 3 games, it was kind of, I think it's also who they were playing. But I think coming into this game, when to me, it's a home game for us.
Yeah,
we're playing with comp. We're not happy about the win at Dallas. And then turn around and you're hearing the things like, yeah, Josh Allen is scarier than Lamar.
Oh yeah.
If I'm gonna watch this game and it's all tell me what I need to know about the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. And 35 on the Bills, 10 points, and how many 10 points? And Josh Allen was under 200 yards. So. I mean, we're entitled to have bad games. They got checked. I mean, I knew the game was really honestly over at halftime. Personally, we were up. Was it 21-6?
3,
excuse me. and they asked McDermott the question. He looks shook. I mean, there's a couple times getting momentum when Lamar fumbled the ball, and they came out at halftime with Shakir. We got behind the defense.
Oh yeah,
those were only two really big things I would say that the momentum was in their hands. And I was like, when he fumbled, when Josh fumbled, it's like the momentum's right back in our favor. But the game plan, we still stayed aggressive.
Your defense,
yeah, for the most part. So I'm really proud. I'm really proud of the guys. And like let's savor this up. We got Cincy next. That should be a matchup. I can't wait to see how that will look. But yeah, we was ready for him.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and man, it absolutely shows. Your defense shut them down. Man, they only had 12 first downs, and I think they were like 3 of 13 on third down. Like, man, you guys got them off the field all night long, man. And you won the time of possession battle. You outright dominated the game, and like you said, it started with Derrick Henry. Him dominating, running the ball. You had Lamar with his fronts and all his stuff, throwing the ball. All this. Look, I think honestly, with you guys, what Harbaugh said in the beginning was something so that you and I would have that discussion. But it was also for those other teams that were like, oh, so you're just going to have him here as a decoy? Okay, so we don't have to worry about it. And you see what happened. He's showing his hand where he's like, you fell for it. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, all he has been doing is running Derrick Henry. And why wouldn't he? If I got Derrick Henry in my backfield and this man is healthy, he's still doing commercials where he's carrying a whole daggone refrigerator
on his back.
You know what I mean? And
he spends $250,000 on maintenance,
bro.
So
this guy's a bionic man.
We did it with Jamal Lewis, and it was effective.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think, I think the biggest thing is I still think Monken is just. I think now he can implement his style.
Yeah.
I think I think it's going to take time for this group of guys to gel, and I think they got it packed down. They do, but I'm not concerned right now. My only thing is, that little momentum shift was kind of like it's not happening, and then just really my biggest concern right now is just Mark Andrews, because it's like we're Nelson Aguilar, he had a couple good catches. He would have had one. He caught it and he dropped it. That was just before we went into halftime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But other than that, at home, Sunday Night Football. I cannot wait to see what some of these fools on TV gonna say tomorrow.
Oh yeah, so, they're gonna talk, man. They're gonna talk.
I know half of them don't. I know half of them don't like Lamar, but I know half of them just say stuff just to say things.
Yeah, they just want to. Blah, 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 you know how they do. But look, ladies and gentlemen, all right, man, we're gonna take a quick breather. I want you to shout out my guy Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans. Definitely does good work. He's going to be traveling to North Carolina tomorrow. He lives in Virginia Beach. He's going to do some setup of some TVs and things like that, and then come back. This dude is amazing, man. He is on time. He takes care of all of his jobs and best customer support. He's on Angie's list. Hit him up, man. But we'll be right back. Yeah, buddy. Yo, that is my guy, Anton Benson. Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans, awesome_artisans on Instagram. Definitely check him out. Does great work, and he will travel to help you. Yo, you know what it is. Hey, this is Let's Talk Football Late Night. I'm your boy Sean Spencer. You see my guy over here, the host of Big Nate Sports Talk on all the time. Anytime, baby. Getting it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, real quick, let's go ahead and talk this out, man. Where do we go from here? You guys, we know 2-2. You had the struggles early. You came back. You got these dubs. We are a surprising 3-1. We're on a course. We're going to meet up in 2 weeks. We're going to try to get to this game. Where do we go from here? What can we take from the first quarter of the season, and where do we go moving forward?
And I cannot believe we're already 1/4 of the season done.
Right?
Easy.
Come on,
the season, like, especially like college football too. It's crazy. Like I think we're going to be okay. Both teams. Yeah. I do see some gains where it's like, okay, we gotta kind of pull our bootstraps up and figure this out. But I think, you got to take football, especially at the pro level. It would go especially in the college level. It's a week by week basis. Like for example, when you see the New Orleans Saints as an example, everyone, a lot of people, the Saints surprised them. A lot of people, and then when they play Philadelphia, it's like, oh, okay, like it's a week. Yeah, it's week by week. It's a week by week process. For Washington, I know we've got. Oh my gosh. Who we play again? Washington.
Washington. Cleveland.
Next. Now, as we saw today, Cleveland, they lost. They're right there, and they lost. Yep. I still think when you have a team, especially we go up against a defense led by Myles Garrett. I know offensively there's some struggles right now. Deshaun and that offense, I just like.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Like, we already know that they lost to the Giants. We already know how much they've been struggling. Dallas beat them early on in the season. Look, I think that Cleveland is a good team. They don't have Nick Chubb. Obviously, they got Jeremy Ford right now. Deshaun Watson, he's got a lot on his plate outside of football. So football obviously is not his main focus right now. But still, they're able to get the wins from time to time, and they're able to get that offense going. We have notoriously had issues with mobile quarterbacks, and I said that going into today's game, and then we crushed. They're going Kyler Murray. Yeah.
Well, if you heard Deshaun coming into this game that they lost today, he wants to pass the ball more. Essentially, he doesn't want to be a rushing quarterback. But it's like, but that's we've seen you do it in Houston.
Exactly.
Like, what are you talking? Like, what are you talking about?
And so that's where it's kind of like, okay, man, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but bro, do what you're good at and keep it moving.
Right. Now, I know, like for Baltimore, like Cincy, they beat the Carolina Panthers today. It's the Panthers. I think so. And again, like, hey, look, it's the AFC North matchup. A divisional rival is always going to be more energy, and we're on the road. So, but to answer the question, where do we go from here? I think both teams are going to be just fine. I think the way Washington's playing right now, I picked them at the beginning to win 8 games. I'm gonna push that 2 to 10 games. Right for right now. I'm not somebody.
I've heard somebody say 11 and 12, so you're not surprising me. Yeah, neither am I.
But with Philly, somebody said it was on Twitter today that Jalen Hurts was looking like the second coming of I can't even see the Quincy Carter or Jamarcus Russell. And I was like, not going that far.
Wow. Really? Ooh, that's
Don't go that far. That's
no on
disrespectful.
that. Good
And then
gracious.
Dallas just lost Michael Parsons and Dexter Lawrence.
For how long?
I think Dexter's out 4 weeks. I know Mike. I know it's a high. I know it's with Mike. It was a high ankle sprain. So
Oh, baby.
those are two. Those are two impactful injuries. So two defensive key
Come
players.
on
And
now.
then you look at the Giants. Like, listen, I know the Giants. You know, especially Daniel Jones has been getting a lot of flack. But if you're actually like watching the games, he's actually not playing that bad.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
team just sucks. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes. And that's the absolute truth. They're not playing that bad. When they played us, I mean, they scored 3 touchdowns. The neighbors, who now is hurt,
Mhm.
has been balling out. I mean, and I think he was head and shoulders in front of people outside of JD5 for that rookie of the year. The way that he was playing up until the injury. What
Dude,
was it?
I'm sorry. I was watching what's his name, Colin
Mm-hmm.
Cowherd. He said if you put Josh Allen, I know that I don't mean to change that, but he said if you put Josh Allen right now on the Giants with because Andrew Thomas is their best offensive lineman and Devil
Yeah.
Singletary with Brian Double, he said that's a playoff team.
Ooh.
That's ridiculous. Like, come on, man.
Ooh. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something to you, man. Their defense is kind of legit.
It is a little, yeah.
Their defense is low key legit. And then if
Mhm.
you can, I mean, you had Devin Singletary out there against us looking like he was Saquon Barkley. You know, Danny Dimes always gets his paycheck against us, even though we got this dub. But look, I'm the Giants beat Cleveland, who we're about to go up against. The Giants can play. Like I'm not sitting here saying they're back by any
Yeah.
means, but I am saying they might be all right.
Yeah.
Dallas only beat them what 20 to 15.
2015, yep.
So yeah, so the Giants can
But
be beat.
yeah, but I mean, if you look at why to go back to Washington, you look at the schedule here. You got Cleveland next Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore the 13th,
Mm-hmm.
Carolina on the 20th,
Come on,
Chicago the 27th,
yeah.
and then against the Giants. If you look at these first 5 weeks, these next 5 weeks, they're winnable games for
All
Washington.
of them are. All of them
Now,
are winnable.
well, I mean, when Washington plays Baltimore, the battle lines have to be drawn. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. We're not going to speak until the game. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, no.
And
I understand.
you look at Baltimore side, Cincy, Washington, obviously, Tampa, Cleveland, and then Denver.
Okay.
Thank God we don't have to go to Denver. Thank God.
Yeah, you gotta get them at your house because you don't want
Yeah.
that high elevation, man. That's just crazy.
It is.
But to your point, like I see our trajectory kind of going the same way, especially if we're able to stay healthy. If both, you guys have the established team, but if we're able to continue on the path that we're going, I mean, it's hard not to say that you have expectations of big things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now, obviously, I'm always cautiously optimistic. We're one injury away from going right back to what we were, but still the culture in Washington has changed. So that's why for me, where do we go from here? We can only go up.
Yep.
I mean, we've had a terrible owner. We've had, 15 different quarterbacks. We've had
Questionable general managers.
Come on now. Like we've had it all. So for me, I'm just like, look, the fact that we're even fielding a team right now that's like this, we're straight. I'm good, man. Let's go ahead and move up. So yeah, I personally think this is a great sign. There's a lot that can be improved, and the other part about it is, right now nobody has any film on us. We're still pulling things out the hat that people haven't seen before. You come week 9, 10, 11, 12, and the teams have had 3, 4, 5 weeks of film on you. Now let's talk. And
Exactly.
Even still, if we're doing that, that's great. But look at CJ Stroud this year. They were struggling, and then shout out to them for coming back, but they were struggling as Jacksonville. We've seen that game against the Bears. You know what I mean? And so sophomore slump is a real thing.
But if I'm being honest with Houston, I don't think they need to ask Stephon Diggs.
I
I think
agree. I agree with you.
I think the offense they had. I think Joe Mixon was a good signing.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is in that offense, somebody was going to lose touches. You have Tank Dell, who's still, I think, coming off his injury. It's not really 100%. Noah Brown kind of lost touches in that offense. Dalton Schultz, and then John Michie the third. So, like, somebody in that offense is going to lose touches. So, sophomore slump is a thing, but also, too, like, they did lose some pieces in the offseason, too.
True.
So
very true. Very true. So, and it's, again, this whole it's week 4. You know what I mean?
Week 4.
So what are we, we're not really going out here with any of this stuff. It's just kind of overreaction, whatever. But look, shout out to y'all that are watching Let's Talk Football Late Night. We're here. I'm Sean Spencer. That's my guy, Nathan Snell. And look, Nate, let's kind of go around with it. We've kind of alluded to a couple games, kind of done this and that. Let's go around the NFL, man. What were some of the games that kind of caught your eye today?
That Colt game versus the Steelers. Joe Flacco's looking like the second coming of John Unitas.
When he left, always getting the job, bro. Come on
now. Anthony Edwards hopefully he's doing well. It's a hip injury, and hip injuries are not the best. So I would expect him not to play next week, depending on the severity of that. But Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson. Yeah, he had a hip injury. I guess kind of way he kind of landed, but he should be okay. But Justin Fields, I still think should be the starter. They were right there. I mean, if you take away that bad snap, because if he didn't even look. It hit him in the face mask.
Yeah.
And then, there was a 3rd and 22, and then Najee Harris doesn't get out of bounds. So, I mean, and it was right there for them. What else?
Well, in that game, I thought the big thing was how, the Colts were up big. They got up 14-0, and the Colts, we're even up late, and the Steelers continued to fight back, continued to claw back into it. And I think what this really shows, to your point about Justin Fields, is that Chicago, man, y'all, that was you. It was all on you. Y'all were the reason why things weren't showing. And even then, he was starting to show you some of the things
that you're looking for. But even with that, I think Caleb, speaking on Chicago, because they did win today. But I think it's kind of interesting coming into this game that they had a meeting with the offensive coordinator. And I'm sitting here going like, oh, timeout.
Yeah, right.
You're having to meet with the offensive coordinator, but your offensive line suspect. You're holding the ball too long. You're making plays when you need to, but is it really offensive coordinator?
Yeah. See, it sounds like you was talking about.
Really? But it's interesting because when I saw they went to have a conversation with offensive coordinator, I'm like, y'all are putting points on the board,
right?
But I'm watching an offensive line that's not giving you time to make your reads.
Right.
I'm seeing DJ Moore and others upset. They won, but I think I'm sitting there going so was. This is a question for Ryan Poles. You could have used your pick to invest in offensive line to protect Justin Fields. I just don't know how many more years you can continue to just say, okay, well, I'm gonna just give up a boatload of picks for this guy. Can't do that, and not in this league.
No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, man. Especially neither is going 3 of 9. But again, if you don't have a line to block for you, then you will struggle and you will have to deal with that, man. Yeah. Shout out to my guy, Andy Zioli, who actually went to this game, the Chicago Bears game, out there, had a blast, got the W. against the Rams, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Nick was working this game. If I'm
Game,
not
yeah, I think so.
mistaken.
Yeah, he was. I think he
Yeah.
was.
So,
And then,
but look, go ahead.
yeah, and no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no. If you're gonna keep talking about the Bears, because I
No, I
was
was
gonna
going to go
switch
into
to the Rams.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna switch. I was gonna say on the other side of this, that was a big win for the Bears, and for the most part, it was a lot more on defense, in my opinion, than offense. But
Right.
for the other team, the Rams, they're 1-3. No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua.
Cool.
They were able to beat San Francisco last week, which is a divisional game, so those type of things happen.
They did get away with that last play. That should have been flagged. But that's
so
okay.
they are that play away from being 0-4. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand they don't have their two main receivers. I understand maybe their line isn't the same. They got those guys from Florida State, Fisk and Verse, Jared Verse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's going on with them, man?
I just think because especially with Puka and Cooper, those are your number one, number two receivers.
Yes.
And then oh my gosh, DeMarcus Robinson is like your third, and then Cody Parkinson, who else can you go to in that offense? I mean, Kyron Williams, I think he was really effective on the ground today, but without your two main weapons, it just what kind of offense are you?
Who else you got? Right.
So, yeah. My next game that actually surprised me was the Texans and Jags.
Yes.
I don't think Doug Peterson should be on the hot seat. I still think that they're going to figure it out. I just think
Nate 0-4 though. Nate, I mean, look, I was listening when I went out and got gas before we did the show, and I was listening on the radio, and they had like Sirius XM, so it was all around the country, and they call in, and it was Jags fans, and it was an old black man, and he was like, "Look, these games, these tickets are $4 for these tickets to these Jaguars games because they are that bad." You don't think he's on the hot seat?
But okay, it's one thing to kind of look at the prop. Let's break it down for a second.
Okay.
Like there were like Trevor Lawrence is not playing, but I think the way I expect him to play, especially with Doug Peterson.
Nathan, he has lost his last 9 starts. I mean, people are saying bust. Like, are we going that far?
I mean, if we're going to say bust, I mean, I look at kind of how this team is constructed. Yeah. I mean, I think Brian Robinson is a good signing, but I mean, Christian Kirk, I mean, it's not a number one wide receiver. Evan Ingram wasn't there today. He's been dealing with an injury.
He's been hurt. And then, Brian Thomas is the only weapon that's really come out.
And then Travis Etienne, like, he's not the same. Like, right? They're just slow. I think they'll get it together. I just think for me, like, Jacksonville had a chance to win this game. When they went for it, as I taking the field goal, I was like, oh yeah, no, Houston's going to win this game. And Dare Ongubawale, the brother of WNBA All-Star Enrique Gubawale, had the game-winning touchdown.
I did get to throw that in there. Yeah.
Yep. So, hey, like, I think the Jags will get it together, but damn, that's rough.
Yeah,
because there was a couple throws, like, it was a good throw, but he threw it over. I think it was brought to Brian Robinson. I can't remember. It was a good pass. It just was a bad, just over his head. It's like, damn.
Like, I mean, look, Brian Thomas Jr. had 6 catches, 86 yards. I mean, he had a touchdown. He was getting it in, but it was funny because even the guy on the radio was saying, "Daggone Lawrence is throwing it so bullet hard. He's throwing it so fast that breaking the hands and all that nonsense." So, I mean, look, they had this game. That's what I think is the worst part is that
it's collective execution.
Well, right. They were playing better. They had them. They could have got the dub. So for them, I mean, you can easily say, hey, look, they were in a number of these games. Things just have not gone their way. But the Jags still being 0-4, I do think there are things that you should be concerned with because you should not be giving this stuff up, like especially the defense. because you're a better team than this. So, but
and especially
week
with
4,
a Doug Peterson who's won a championship.
mm-hmm.
He's been in this. He's been. I've seen him work with quarterbacks like Trevor.
Right,
He won. They'll get it together.
yeah, oh yeah,
I think it's more of a we need to get in the film, but also hold each other accountable because
right,
Trevor has not been playing. He's not been. I will concede that he's not been playing well.
no,
And
he
some
has
of that
not,
also too is injuries. Offensive line also too has been inconsistent with
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
pass protection, but and I think those are the kind of things I got to take in consideration. So, but I think they'll get it together.
No, I think so
Um,
too.
I really wanted to talk about um, the Denver Broncos and New York Jets. Um,
Yes.
Legatron, I caught the couple minutes. I think Legatron had the chance to win the game for the Jets. Um,
Greg Zuerlein.
yes, Greg Zuerlein. Um, I know I might take some flack for this, but I really want to see the Jets after this year move off of Aaron Rodgers. I just think like it just is not going to work. I don't see them making the playoffs. I just think
Wow.
because
Wow.
at his age, coming off an Achilles, and they still I don't think have the formula. Like I know Robert Sala's going to get scapegoated, but we got to stop making excuses for Aaron Rodgers. It's really got to stop. I know I get it was raining, but I watched that last drive and I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be the bad man, and I didn't see anything. I saw a guy who looks older, who looks, like, at no, and I'm not giving the Broncos no credit neither. I mean, because Will Lutz had missed a field goal too, so I just think both teams. This was probably as shout out to the YouTuber, the urinating tree. This was low cal of the week. If I'm
It
being
really
honest.
was. It really was. I mean, 10-9. I mean, the fact that you said Legatron had a shot at the end. I mean, come on now. And I kept looking over at the score, and all I kept hearing was all the people that said, "Oh my goodness," because Aaron Rodgers is on the team, they're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to be an instant Super Bowl championship contender.
Yeah,
And I'm
no.
like, no. There's still pieces that are missing.
They have
He
a
alone.
questionable offensive line outside of Garrett Wilson. Who
What
else is in
else you
it?
got?
Brees Hall too.
It's all Green Bay Packer retreads. Alan Lazard, Tyler Conklin, like all guys that his old buddies that have not been able to progress.
Yeah, but also too, in that game, I thought they kind of had a penalty. I think that kind of also killed it on one of their drives. Was Lazard had the finger pointing gesture,
the taunting thing,
and they got 15 yards on that, and that killed. I think that killed one of their drives.
Talk about that for a second, man, because that's something Washington got tagged for twice today. With where they kind of dropped the ball in front of the guy or kind of was doing some of this, and after the touchdown, and they called it taunting. And on the first one, I was like, come on, bro, what do you chill? You don't need to do all that. But on the second one, I was like, bro, it's a touchdown.
Well, and the same thing happened to Marlon Humphrey. He got called for unnecessary roughness. He shoved homeboy in the face mask. Yeah, like I think I'm all for celebrating. I'm all for the the dances, but in that moment when you're trying to find some consistency in your offense and you're trying to score, when you just take the ball and no, like that's unnecessary. I think for me, I'm more about staying in that mindset, but also too, like I think we do have some officials that are a bit a little soft, with certain calls. Like, okay, you call that taunting, but you won't call this. It's very, very weird. With that, I don't agree on the second one for Washington, for example. I don't agree that was taunting, but I understand why they called it. But yeah, I just think there's a time and a place for justice, and also too, I think there are certain things, that may be deemed inappropriate when taunting, like with the finger pointing. It's kind of like he was like holding a gun. Like
Mm.
you got to you got to be a little bit smarter. But yeah, yeah, that's
I don't know, man. I disagree, man. I don't. If you can't do that, you can't do anything, man.
true.
You know, we can. There can be any kind of interpretation for however it looks, and I understand that part. But nah, bro. Look, if we can't get excited after that, that's what gets the fans excited. That's what gets the teammates excited. Whatever. Like, I'm an old school coach. I was the one that said, "Get back to those. You ain't done nothing. The score is blah blah blah." But in this situation, it's just this is like writing a ticket just for nothing. Like this is like there's no reason, in my opinion. It's it is what it is. Thankfully, it did not matter in the game, and the game
Yeah.
was already blown out.
Blown
But
out.
still, all of these daggone flags for what? Like, oh, he's celebrating, man. Get out of here, dude. Every single play you can say somebody's taunting. Like
Yeah.
every time he does first down, is that not taunting? Like, so
True. I think it also I think it just depends on the crew. Honestly,
that's true. That is true.
So,
That is true.
My next game, the Vikings and the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
This is Jordan Love's first game back. I would have went with Malik Willis as my starter. I just think when to me, Jordan was a bit rusty, and they were successful the last 2 weeks with Malik. I just think Jordan kind of like it's kind of the momentum, like kind of that, like, oh, okay. And
but he's your golden boy. If he's back, you got to go to him.
Yeah, and there were a couple of mistakes that Green Bay made. I mean, they lost by 2 points, so they look great. Sam Darnold, thank you, helped me win he had a big day in fantasy. He's proven a lot of people wrong. Someone's going to pay him.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Jones, his first 7 years in Green Bay, had a big game today. Justin Jefferson too. The Vikings are looking really, really good, and so are the Packers.
Yep. No, absolutely. I mean, this game, honestly, it was a blowout for a good portion of it. It was 28-7 for most of it, and then Green Bay was able to come back towards the end of it. And once they came back in it, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. They got it done, and I'm all for it. I think that was great on their part. Sam Darnold definitely looks the part on offense, and that defense was legit. I personally, Love. I'm glad he got back in there. Glad he got some action in. But I mean, we'll see how it continues. He did definitely look rusty, but I mean, he had been off for 2 weeks. But now you have a starter and you have a backup quarterback. So I'm excited by that. I'm excited by that.
Very. What were your thoughts on? Oh my gosh, New Orleans versus Atlanta.
I thought it was a great game. Back and forth. Taysom Hill got a score. Like you saw him, you and I were playing fantasy. Young Wei Koo, who hit the game winner, 59-yarder. He got me 20 points on fantasy, so he's absolutely been playing out of his mind. But this was an old school NFC South matchup. I love it. I love that both teams were able to kind of go toe-to-toe in this game. This is one of those games that's going to affect both teams down the line. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they played the last week of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Or either no. I think them and Tampa play. I think them and Tampa play the last week of the season.
I got you. Let me check that for you real quick.
So Tampa plays New Orleans in the last week.
Atlanta. Okay, so this might be
around Atlanta plays them again in November.
Yeah, and the last game the Falcons got Carolina.
Yeah.
So the next time they see the Falcons and face each other is on the 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm honestly thinking, man, Atlanta is something to be messed with. Something they're nothing to be messed with. I think they will truly be a powerhouse, man. They could bring it together.
I did have a question. My next question for you is: do you see Philadelphia, because they lost today to Tampa? Is Philadelphia, should they still win the NFC East, or do we have concerns?
It's up there. It's still up there. I mean, you got to be honest. I mean, they lost 33-16. We lost 38-20. You know what I mean? So this is something that happened to both teams. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily as concerned that they got shut down because I truly think Tampa is a playoff contender, and the team
Right.
that they have right now, as long as they're healthy, and now they're getting healthier. Yeah, this was kind of part of the course. Philly has not been able to really work with them. Like, they haven't been able to beat them in the last couple of tries, but more so than that, Philly was without J.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. That
Yeah.
if their air attack, if they don't have that threat of air attack and
It's a
everybody just
wrap.
can load the box, Hurts hasn't proved that he can pick you apart down the field, consistently. So, that's where I look. I'm glad they're 2-2, but by no means do I think they're dead. I mean, I this is a team that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they have that defense. If you go back and watch that Saints game, that defense wreaked havoc
Havoc.
on that Saints O line and that running game. So them Georgia boys, they look. We know what they do. They ball out in that area. They were doing what they were doing, man. So
I'm
straight up.
laughing because Jalen Carter in that game against the Saints, it took
They had
30.
to pull him. They had to pull him back. I was like, dag, man, dag. But look, look, ladies and gentlemen, man, we are so glad that you guys were able to sit here and join us
Do you have really
on
quick?
this evening.
Do you have a prediction for the 2 Monday Night Football games we see tomorrow?
Who's playing tomorrow night?
We got Tennessee, Miami, and then Seattle and Detroit.
Honestly, for me, Huntley's
Whose
playing for Miami, isn't
idea
he?
was that?
I don't know.
Golly.
This is when you flex. Well, one of them is going to be really good, but then Tennessee, Miami is. They should just put that one at like 4:00 in the afternoon so nobody can watch
Tyler
that.
Huntley's is going to be the starter in that game. Let's
Yes.
see what Lamar number 2 can do.
Right. I still think I'm thinking 21-17 Tennessee. I mean, unless Tyler Huntley can get it done. I mean, he's got the weapons.
Yeah,
He's got the weapons.
yeah.
But Detroit, Seattle, I say 26-23. It goes to overtime.
I can see that.
I think it'll be a tight one. And I'll say Detroit with the dub. And they both go 3-1.
My picks are Detroit and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other thing, I know for the first 4 weeks with this new kickoff rule. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, we returned one that got called back, so I actually don't mind it. Personally, I want the old school one. I understand why they're doing it because of the the possibility for injury and all that type of stuff. But I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. And then you have to, and then because for the other thing is you have to tell when you're going to do an onside kick.
Onside kick, and that makes no sense.
Right. I mean, I love when teams like in college with the South Carolina and Beamer ball when they come out and surprise you with the onside kick. That's what it is. Sean Payton made his career on the onside kick in the Super Bowl that got him. So I honestly think I get it. I get what you're trying to do. I understand that whole thing, but I'm just not for it. Me personally.
Same.
Same. So
Same.
I definitely let it go. But ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys being here with us, joining us on the first episode of Let's Talk Football Late Night. And we will definitely be back, hopefully, with more of these wins to talk about. If not, there'll be some vent sessions because we will definitely be blowing off some steam for my guy, Mr. Nathan Snell. You know who it is. Your boy, Sean Spencer. We will see you next time. And as always, put him up. Put him up.
One other thing.
For you, all of you, who has it
better than us? Nobody.
Let's go. Up, baby.
Peace, people.
Gibbs, you got a good chance. Let me tell you something about some good fans. Back in the day, RFK was our palace. If you don't know, you need to ask about us. Think we're gonna lose? Well, I can't. can't believe your doubters had the whole crowd screaming out, we want Dallas. Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders. Commanders. We fight for RDC. Who are we? The Commanders. 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 Left hand up. Who are we?